It's Pete from Cheap Homesteading, and today we're in the garage and we're going to be working on the Coleman oil heater. I picked it up off Marketplace and the guy said that it was in working order and he just removed it out of the barn. There was clear signs that he hadn't had the thing running for a long time. There was dust on the supply line fitting, so like there was nothing hooked to it for a long time. There's bugs that crawled into the screen that it can remove out of the bottom of the float. There was just a lot of signs that it hasn't been used for a long time. And I fixed all the little trinkets. I got my fan working and I got the thermostat working on the actual float bowl. I couldn't get fuel to go to the fire chamber, so you can't get fuel into the fire chamber, it's not gonna run. Tonight I have a little bit of time, so I thought, you know what, we're gonna remove the carburetor float control unit off of this old oil heater and see if we can free it up, clean it up, reinstall it, and see if we can get it running. So that's what the plan is today. So this is the Coleman heater. It actually was way larger than I thought it was going to be. And right here, you can't really see it, but I did take a picture and it was like 4011. So it's a Coleman heater. It's got a blower fan that you can turn on and then it blows into the fire pot. So I'm assuming you can get these to burn pretty clean. So that looks good. You can go down medium, low. Turn it off. Down here, I have not seen one like this. I tried to look online. Normally they don't have the box on top of the carburetor. It's basically a safety valve, so if it gets hit or it falls off, it's not going to dump fuel. So I got an old thermostat from a baseboard heater. I hooked it up. As far as I could tell, that is DC volts, but I didn't know how much amperage, so I just went with a thermostat off baseboard, so it's plenty amount of amperage it's good for. If I turn this on now, you can hear it click. There's a little lever and it takes forever, but it does lift. Now it has cleared the little pin. So basically it plugs into 110, it goes into a coil, and the coil makes a DC. And then when the thermostat connects it, it heats up that little coil that's on this lever. And because it's bimetallic, it just kind of lifts. And when you shut it off, it drops. So I'm assuming they have it set up so it just has enough to keep it running, but it won't go out. So it'll fire back up once you start adding more fuel to it. See, it's going down. Man, this is like watching paint dry. It's not too fast. But it does fully go down all the way. So I'm gonna throw this back on. We're gonna try to get this float control unit to work. So there you go, there is the carburetor. Okay. Okay, so on here, high flow 32, low flow 6, Coleman part number 870757. Doesn't have a year that I can see. Yeah, they call these things carburetors, but they're not really carburetors. They are basically flow controls. And so they are relatively simple, but if dirt or gets in there or bugs or anything, it can really just make a big mess. So we're gonna just take it apart, clean it, and see if we can get this thing working. Okay, so we're gonna dump the fuel out of it. Looks like a lot of junk has made its way out. I could see it. Okay, so now we're gonna remove these screws. We're gonna set all the screws off to the side. Okay. Look, there's little bug larvae or something that's in here. See, when you turn your control, that moves. So that's full is up. Low is down. Okay, so now you got two floats. One here and one there. We're gonna remove this. Oh, I'm making a big mess of diesel fuel here. My guess is I can see little chunks of bug. I don't know. There were some bugs that were living in here anyways. So my guess is there is something jammed in. Here's the two floats. That's actually really, really cool. It's like a piece of art. The floats move free and everything seems to work free. Set that over there. But you can see a lot of dirt in the bottom of here. Okay, so we're gonna take the screen out. Screen looks clean. That floats there. So we're gonna just pull this spring out. That is where the fuel gets into the smaller float. I think this is the needle. That is the needle. That's what allows fuel to go in. We're just taking this apart. Okay, so I'm gonna finish cleaning it up. We're gonna make sure that all the passages in here are not plugged, and we're gonna get rid of this grit at the bottom of the bowl. Best we can anyways. We're gonna clean that out. I might use a little bit of brake clean. Do you see that? That's what was blocking it. Some sort of insect larvae cocoon or something. And that was in the line that went directly to my burner pot. So I'm pretty sure that's the problem. We're gonna reassemble everything and make sure that it's all clean. And then we're gonna see if we can fire this thing up. Okay, so we're gonna put this all back. It is a very simple system, and you really shouldn't be leaving the fittings open because this was sitting in a barn, and clearly bugs had access to it, and it wasn't used, or it wasn't in working condition like he sold it. But that doesn't matter. Normally the stuff I buy, I wonder what's in there. I want to make sure that there's nothing in there. Nice and clean. There's nothing there. Okay, so that goes like there. And then it goes in behind the spring, you lift up, and then that slides into here. The inlet needle and the outlet feed for the secondary float. We are going to set this back in place, put the screws on. Make sure these are tight. Then we put the cover on. Okay, so before we install this, this is the line that goes right into the firebox. I want to make sure that it is clear, so we are going to run this. This is electric fence wire, but I want to make sure that it is fully clear and there's no bugs or debris in there. That should be good. Bolt it down. The thermostat control back on. Just snug. Throw the cover back on. So now that we've got the carburetor back on, I want to see if I'm actually getting fuel to the burner chamber line. So I disconnect this line, and I'm going to use my fancy flow control here. And at some point I should have, oh no, I forgot my screen. Oh no. No. That's awful. Okay, gotta get the screen. Okay, let's wake this up. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's see if that works. Okay, so there, it's just starting. We're gonna put this line on now. So now I gotta see if it's actually inside. Okay, so there is fuel getting to the fire pot. Now we're gonna take this thing outside and we're gonna give it a try. It is gonna be hard for you to see, but we'll do our best. Try to see if we can get this thing up and running and see if we can get some heat out of it. So I'm gonna plug in the fan. So now there's fuel going in there, so hopefully, if we get this up and running, hopefully the fuel catches. Hopefully, I have enough fuel to keep this thing up and running. I forgot my chimney. There you go. Here is the chimney. Here's the cap. I think it's starting to go. There is the fuel. We are gonna shut the door. And now, if you look, you can see that it is burning. Okay, so I got my fan on high right now. The thermostat is bypassed. When you pull back, it's bypassed until I get the thing up and running. It's going. Okay, so we're gonna shut the door just for a little bit. Let the actual stove heat up. Definitely promising. I tried the other day, couldn't get it up and running. I was a little down on it. But, you know, I tinkered around a little bit, cleaned the carburetor, the flow control system, put it on. I got fuel right away. The thing lit up. It's heating up. So we're going to check on it in a couple more minutes to make sure that it's all good and going. But it's super exciting because I kind of want to get this in the greenhouse, get it ready. So my goal is to actually have this as my backup heat in my greenhouse, supplement, backup. If it gets like super cold and my wood stove can't keep up, I want to run it. Or if like something happens in my wood stove, I can't run it, I'm not there, I can run this for a longer extended period of time and it can actually keep the greenhouse warm. I don't want to go to all the bother of planting all these plants and then some freak cold snap comes and then I have a problem. You really have to anticipate bad weather, especially when you live in a cold climate. I want to have at least 2 options to heat almost everything if it's important anyways. Having more options is never a bad thing. So let's check to see if it's still going. Okay, so it is rolling. It's definitely going. Oh, I can start feeling the heat now. It actually doesn't take that long. It really, really doesn't take that long to start give some heat. I made sure I had an extinguisher around for sure. But that is working good. Okay, so it is really starting to roll now. That's nice. That is nice. We'll shut the door for a little bit longer. So the stove was going full tilt here. I put the thermostat so it'll actually keep it warm because it wasn't turning off the thermostat. Okay, so that little lever should drop at some point and slow down the burn in the chamber when the thermostat kicked it off. Okay, so there you go. See? When the thermostat shuts off,
It goes down, pushes down on the float, and slows down the flow. Okay, so right now, the fire is definitely slowing down. My thermostat is working good. So there you go, the Coleman diesel heater, fuel heater, whatever you want to call it, is up and running, and I'm super glad because, man, it was kind of stressing me out because, you know, you pay for something and you want it to work and you want to be able to use it. But it's up and running, and hopefully next weekend we can install it. So that's about enough for today. You guys have a good one.